Okay, so it's how the cabinet works. Cabinet, I mean, it's not how the cabinet works, it's how the departments work, but there's a bunch of departments. So, for example, there's the, I was not prepared. Okay, departments. Departments. Department 5s. U.S. departments. So, starting off with the department. These are not at all departments. We have first the Department of Agriculture, which provides food and stuff. Next up comes the Department of Commerce, which helps the United States economy. Oh, what about the secretaries, you might be asking? Secretaries. I don't know the secretaries, but, I don't know the secretaries, but, yeah. But, I mean, I do not know what it is, but then who is the secretary of all these parties? So, I mean, we have the department. So the Department of Commerce is to anyway, so we have the Department of what's it called? Of Culture, and our secretary currently is, Sonny Perdue. Next up comes, the Department of Commerce, which is, supposed to, help out the United States government, and the secretary is Wilbur L. Ross. Next comes the Department of Defense, which I think the secretary is, I don't know, Defense. James and Mattis, apparently. He's in charge of defense, protecting the country from wars and stuff. The Department of Education, that's Betsy DeVos. I knew that. I'm gonna make sure they didn't fire her or anything. Yes, she is currently the Secretary of Education. Next up, the Secretary of Energy. I don't know who it is. It is, Rick Perry. And by the Department of Education helps out education. And the Department of Energy is actually in charge of nuclear weapons for some reason. It should be in the Department of, what is it called? The Department of Defense should be in charge of that, but yeah. But also is in charge of nuclear, not nuclear weapons, but nuclear things. Rick Perry. Somebody wanted to get rid of the Department of Energy. is now in charge of it. Secretary of Health and Human Services. The secretary is currently Alex Czar, maybe? I said maybe because I didn't even know if it was current, if it was incumbent. If he was incumbent. So, I mean, he's in charge of health for people. Next up, my favorite department. The Department of Homeland Security. Christian Nielsen. Which is not my favorite secretary, but she is secretary of my favorite department. Which is, and Homeland Security is upset. I'm going to try and keep this appropriate. Is anti bad stuff, I guess, and we learned about the TSA. By the way, this only applies to classmates. We learned about the TSA and Secret Service. Those are divisions of the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, next comes the Department of Housing and Urban Development. A bit of a weird one, but made by my favorite president, Lyndon B. Johnson. I made a big video about how the presidents work. Anyway, so our current secretary is Ben Carson, which he's in charge of having housing and providing housing and urban development. Department of the Interior, I think it's Ryan Zink, if I'm not mistaken. It is currently Ryan Zink. Okay, so we have Ryan Zink. Next up, we have the Department of Justice, I think by Mr. Sessions. I'm not saying his first name because I hate it. United States Secretary of, Attorney General. The Department of Justice, yes. He's head of the Department of Justice, which is essentially, really just the police, like crazy version of crazy version of police. I'm not saying that the people are crazy, but I'm saying that the role is crazy. I think it's a crazy awesome version of the United States Attorney General of the police, awesome people. So after that is the Department of Justice. After the Department of Justice is of Labor. It's really just the department where a bunch of slaves decided to create a department because they were mad about their owners. Of course, I'm kidding. The Department of Labor is a department which helps retired people, and that's a Social Security Administration, as well as people that are trying to get into work. So who is the Secretary of Labor? I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. It is Alex Acosta. Reference. I think I might have pronounced it wrong, and if I did, it was on purpose. So yeah, you might be wrong, right? Anyways, comes the Department of State, which is headed by, I don't know, Secretary of State John J. Sullivan, I guess. They're in charge of foreign affairs. The Department of Transportation, I don't know, that's transportation, of course. Transportation. Elaine Chow. So yeah. That was weird. Department of Treasury, I think headed by, I don't know. The Treasury. Steve Mnuchin. Okay. And finally, the department, my problem, a department that really should not be its own department and should be a division of the Department of Health and Homeland and Human Services, the Department of Veterans Affairs. This is these help out veterans, of course, and the head of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, it is Robert Willie, apparently. So yeah, those are all the departments. So I know Mr. Beat put them in order of creation. I put them in alphabetical order. And yeah, those are all the departments of the United States of America and what they do. And I said originally how the cabinet works. Wow. What is the cabinet? It's the United States Vice President, which originally was created in order to serve as president if the president died. The Vice President is the Vice President and all the secretaries and the people that work for them. And yeah, that's that. Robert Willie. And actually, I might tell you there are some acting people, which means that they are actually and acting means that they actually that they are only them because the real one can't be there. I'm going to explain how acting presidents work in another video. And also acting secretaries and acting vice presidents, do those even exist? Bye. Don't forget to say scripty.